Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Spurs Up Show. This is episode 25. We are coming to you live, going to be recapping the Tennessee game on Saturday. The Gamecocks come away with a 15-9 win in Knoxville, Tennessee, in Neyland Stadium. But first, if you want to follow the show, as always, be sure to check us out on iTunes at the Spurs Up Show. Go there, rate and subscribe. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like about the show. We appreciate all the feedback always. Also, be sure to go follow us on our Twitter at ArmchairSCar. That's going to be at Armchair SCAR for all of our tweets, all the action, live tweeting stuff we do there. Also, check us out on Instagram at Armchair SCarolina. And this is a podcast brought to you by the Armchair All-Americans, armchairallamericans.com, localizing your sports coverage content. Be sure to go to armchairallamericans.com. Check out the show as well as our South Carolina Gamecocks breaking news coverage there, as well as all of our other coverage with Armchair All-Americans as well. So jumping right into it, as always, I'm your host, Chris Phillips. I'm joined today by my colleague, as always, Tyler Clark. And Tyler, it was a crazy one Saturday. It was full of twists and turns, and I thought I was going to throw up at the end, but the Gamecocks find a way to get it done. A noon kickoff in Neyland Stadium will look like a really gorgeous day for football. The Gamecocks get it done 15-9. You were in the stadium, so I'm going to let you go first because I'm really curious to hear some of your takes from Knoxville and everything. Talk about the weekend. Talk about, being in the stadium, the Gamecocks getting the W.
It was a lot of fun. The first thing I got to experience, we went to Bojangles on the way there in the morning. And so obviously I'm decked out in my Carolina stuff. And the lady at the register, she's like, I'm really pulling for you guys today. I'm a diehard Tennessee fan, but Butch Jones has got to go. And I just thought it was weird. Like, I don't know the total attendance in Neyland Saturday, but it wasn't even close to being full, but it was probably still like 90,000 people. It was awesome. There was a lot of Gamecocks there. You could definitely hear our sections. There was one, on the other side of the field, upper deck, we had a section, and then obviously the one with the band. There's a lot of Carolina fans. It was awesome, but you could definitely tell that it wasn't normal Neyland.
Right, just with the Butch Jones. I thought it was so funny. They showed on TV, and I saw it on Twitter that morning, the Keep Butch Jones shirts were just hysterical. It was so funny. That was so awesome. But, yeah, I had a buddy up there. You were obviously up there. I had another buddy of mine up there as well that, said Neyland was a blast. He's kind of neutral. He's neutral. He's not a South Carolina, Tennessee, whatever. He said it was awesome, as far as the atmosphere. He had never been in a stadium like that. But, yeah, kind of figured it wouldn't be the 100,000, going crazy just with all the, the agony they're going through with Butch Jones and, another loss for Tennessee. But, yeah, I definitely let me ask you this. What was kind of I was following you on Twitter, obviously, and I know that you were shaking as the last drive was going on. Talk about, like, the last drive in the stadium, how you felt.
Man, so – the defense played so well the entire game. You feel like there's no way that Garantano has anything left in the tank. He's going to throw a pick. It's going to be over. And then you see the ball in the air on that long pass play. You're like, oh, my God, this is about to happen. And you get down there, and it's just play after play after play. They get to the 2. And, they run like 3 plays from inside the 5. I was going to ask you at the beginning, have you ever, has a game ever been that intense, down to the last second? I've never been that nervous in my life at a football game, I don't think.
Yeah, dude, I was going to say I was watching the game. Obviously, I wasn't in Knoxville. I was watching the game, though, and I was with a friend of mine that's not a South Carolina fan, watched it at his place. And, it was literally one of those – I've never watched a game and been so nervous. Normally, I'm a pretty optimistic fan and, always believe, like, the best is going to happen. But I was just sitting there – face in my hands. I wanted to cut the TV off and just get the update on my phone. I was so nervous. Honestly, I was the same as you. Tennessee got the ball before that last drive, and I was like, it's probably going to be like kind of one of those South Carolina last drives. You just kind of heave it up, right? If you're going to throw a pick, pass will get tipped, whatever. And the D-line had played so good all day. It's like there's just no chance. But, yeah, they hit that long pass, and they get down like the 30, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. And, honestly, they get down to the 2. It was weird. It was like I believed that we could hold them out, but at the same time I was like, how are they not going to score from the 2-yard line? I was like, this is going to be one of these busted plays where we've got everything covered perfectly, and Garantano is going to find a hole and just run in untouched. Or, you know what really scared me? They didn't have any timeouts, but I kept thinking the whole time, I was like, if they give this ball to John Kelly, I don't know that we can stop him from getting 2 yards.
See, that's exactly what I was thinking the entire time. Like, why don't you just run the ball? Your quarterback's fast.
With 3 seconds left, I thought for sure the last play was like, they're just going to run it because they have nothing to lose here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. This is the last play no matter what. Why not just give it to your horse?
There's no way it would have been stopped. There's no way.
Well, yeah. I mean, luckily for South Carolina, it was Chris Lamons with the pass deflection. South Carolina escapes kneeling 15-9, a place where they obviously had a ton of problems. Only the third, all-time win there. So I think South Carolina will take a win in Knoxville any way they can get it, no matter what type of Tennessee team it's against. We'll get back to the defense, but just talking a little bit about the offense, Tyler. Man, another thing about that game, with the offense, it was an agonizing game to watch. I mean, it was literally – I was sitting in the third quarter, and I was sitting there. I was like, I think I could fall asleep right now. I mean, this is just like so brutally bad on offense. South Carolina gets off to another slow start. It's just like weekly clockwork that Kurt Roper is getting his job called for on Twitter by not even just fans, but certain people in the South Carolina media and everything. Really about as bad as the first half you could have. Rico Dowdle goes out with an injury, out for the year, which the craziest thing that these 3 guys have the same injury that has put them out for the year.
I don't understand how that works.
I don't know how that's possible.
How easy is it to break that bone?
I don't know. But anyways, another South Carolina running back gets hurt against the Tennessee Volunteers. But South Carolina really stepped it up. The offensive line came to play in the second half. There was a little bit of a wrinkle in the running game in the second half, which showed by the stats. I'll pull them up here. South Carolina ran for, as a team, they ran for 194 yards. That's the total rushing yards. I'm not sure what it is with the sacks. But anyways, a really good day. Like A.J. Turner had 14 carries for 86 yards. Tyson Williams, another solid day, 11 for 47. He averaged 4.3 a carry. I'll tell you here, actually. So, yeah, 194 rushing. So I don't think Jake Bentley got sacked at all. Or he might have got sacked once. But either way, South Carolina averaging 4.8 yards a rush, controlling the time of possession, 32 minutes to 27 minutes. It came in the second half. I mean, still you only had 323 total yards, but you held Tennessee. I think they held them to -7 yards of offense until the last drive in the second half. I mean, it was crazy.
You don't get when you go to a game. You don't get to see those kinds of stats, and that's pretty insane. I didn't hear about that. That's wild. Yeah,
I think it was like into the fourth quarter. It was like -7 yards they'd held Tennessee to, and then the final drive happened. Obviously, and they went like 80 yards down the field. So They finished the second half with like 73 yards. It was ridiculous, though. I mean, South Carolina's defense, played outstanding. But, yeah, the offense, turned it around, obviously. What was your take? We'll talk about the running game, Tyler. What was your take on the running game? Obviously, Dowdle out, but I just thought they were so much more creative in the second half.
Yeah, A.J. Turner looked really, really good, through every part of the game. They blocked well. On A.J. Turner's on that little sweep touchdown, the block from Tyson Williams was, why he scored the touchdown. Offensive.
That burst of speed was solid, too. He hit the turbo button.
Yeah. And then, the offensive line, they're still just young guys. They had to fill in. You're missing 3 guys. You go into an environment like that. I thought they played extremely well. I didn't know we had that many rushing yards until after the game. And it had to be a game plan because, Bentley didn't have any throw probably over 10 yards after that first play of the game where that –
which should have been a pass interference.
That was awful. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. It's so blatant when you watch it.
They tried to say it was uncatchable, and they show the replay, and I'm like, the ball landed right over his head. Like, what do you mean?
It's a hold either way. He's grabbing his jersey. So
he stretched his jersey to double XL.
Yeah. And then apparently there was a face mask on the next play. Just stuff like that. But, I don't think that they tried to do anything special on offense. It had to be a game plan thing. For the offensive line to play as well as they did, I thought, on Tennessee's defense, the one thing that doesn't suck, at least, is their defensive line. They've been decent. This season and especially last year, they were good. I thought it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as what we saw against Kentucky, for example, or Louisiana Tech. But they definitely executed the plays a lot better.
Yeah, that was kind of the question. You bring that up. I'm glad you did. That was something, I was just thinking about wanting to ask you. Do you think, because this O-line obviously is without, at least for Tennessee, hopefully they'll be back for the Vanderbilt game after the bye week. Zach Bailey, Corey Helms, Malik Young. I don't think any of those guys played Saturday. None of them. I know Zach Bailey dressed. I don't think he played at all. Do you think we're underrating the performance of this offensive line without those three guys? Because, those are three pretty big pieces. And, 194 rushing yards without those three guys against any SEC competition, honestly, is more than I would have ever imagined.
Yeah, I don't think they played as well as they did Saturday against, the other two teams that they had when the guys were down. I think that, something must have clicked in this last week or so, because I thought what we saw from the offensive line this game was completely different than what we saw the other 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I thought South Carolina really just imposed their will in the second half. Just straight up out physical Tennessee, pushed them around, shoved them around. And I feel like we say, they say it every week and we say it every week, but Jeff Dillman, the job he's done with the strength staff, South Carolina just looks – they get in the fourth quarter. They just look – really. Another guy who had a really good game, maybe not the numbers to reflect it so much, but Brian Edwards is just playing like a man on fire right now. He had the nasty juke move on the Tennessee defensive back where he caught it. Crazy. Stopped on a dime. The guy goes right past him. He gets the first down. And then you see him get fired up on the sideline and everything. He's playing like a dude possessed. And then Ortre Smith, another guy that he just continues to get better every week. The stats for Brian, 6 for 63. And then Ortre, 3 catches for 40 yards. Those two dudes were without a doubt, the top 2 receivers on this team, not even a question. I just wonder how good this receiving core would be with Deebo Samuel, but I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with Ortre and Brian Edwards. Ortre, I know you texted me last week. You're saying I was standing next to Ortre Smith. I think he's bigger than Donnell Stanley or something like that.
It was Dennis Daly.
Dennis Daly,
I have a class in my building on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Dennis Daly looks like he can play tight end.
Yeah, and I know Ortre Smith, he's like 6'4", 220. He's a big dude.
He's huge.
Yeah. So, he's going to have a long career, not just in South Carolina, but probably after if things work out. But, yeah, I tell you, the guy that, missing from this list, this highlight is Hayden Hurst. I know you said that obviously in the game plan, I think it was definitely to run it a little bit more. And, I definitely tend to agree with you to some extent. But Hayden Hurst, I think he had, 1 or 2 targets, didn't have a catch. He had 1 carry for 4 yards. Where's Hayden Hurst? Where is Hayden Hurst?
Well, we weren't asking that last week because they had that, 61-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
It's just week to week. I think things are so different, and there's so many guys to go around. But no one really had a majority except for Brian Edwards. And Edwards dropped that ball on 3rd down in the first quarter, and that really kind of just it seemed like it deflated the whole offense for 3 drives.
Yeah, it's funny how South Carolina's offense they're very streaky. If they get going, they get hot. They get going and get hot. They can put up points in bunches, but one thing happens to them, and it's just here we go again. Here's the, whatever. But, I'll tell you the other thing, too, on offense. I was so happy to see Jake Bentley finally keeping the ball on a read option.
Yes.
It was that play, that's a great play because Jake Bentley had to either somebody upstairs or Jake Bentley himself had to be yo, there is nobody covering that lane. There is no one over there.
And you see what happens as a result on that drive.
Right, they have to respect it
3 times, and you score a touchdown because of it.
Right.
It accounts for a guy on the defense, and it's something so important.
Right, and you don't have to run for 10 or 15 yards, even a 3 or 4 or 5 yard run.
Just have to have it there.
Just to make the defense know I will pull it if you give it to me. Jake Bentley's rushing stats: 6 carries for 24 yards, long of 9.
Yeah,
it's not like he. Yeah, but if he at least has a threat. I will say this though: I have been more than pleased and pleasantly surprised with Jake Bentley's running ability. I had no idea he was this. He's shifty. He's very shifty. I'll give him that. not going to say he's a burner by any stretch of the imagination, but dude's shifty. So
he is tough though. He gets hit on those.
Yeah. There's some of them I'm like, get down, just get down. He's too valuable, right. You know what I'm saying, to be putting in those positions too often. But yeah, if it's there, man, I mean, because that's what we're talking about, like the predictability of the offense. Well, if you're keeping that, like that's a really good play. It's not a good play if you're just going to hand it off every time, though. So I'm hoping to see more of that, honestly. I would love to see them incorporate more. Like I said, I know he's not a Connor Shaw or anything, but at least make the defense respect the ability to pull that ball out.
The same theory as a play action. And we've seen more of the play action, lately, these last couple games, because the running game's been there. I mean, you run for something they have to account for it. It's the same theory.
Yeah, the thing I love too is I think we should use the speed sweep even more, because it seems like to me that play action speed sweep is probably the best play action pass we have in the playbook. I don't know. I feel like we've had a ton of success on that play action, and I think the speed sweep's probably been the best running play since Will Muschamp became head coach.
Absolutely, they went away from it for a good month.
Yeah, exactly. And AJ Turner, he's more than capable, obviously, of handling that, because man, like you said, that run he had was extremely impressive.
He's going to have a huge role in this offense now that Rico's out, and
it's
going to have to be a lot out of the backfield. And he's going to have to block a lot. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. So shifting over to the defensive side, I mean, we sound like a broken record from last week, but DJ Wanham just does it again. SEC Defensive Lineman Player of the Week, whatever you want to call it, second week in a row. He has a huge game. I'll pull up the defensive stats. Actually, I got the defensive stats right here. DJ Wanham, 6 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Just a huge game. He had 2 of the 7 that South Carolina had on defense. He just continues, even when he's not making tackles or getting sacks. He's a force in back there, making life hell for quarterbacks, and especially a guy like Garantano. I mean, he was in his face all day. So I mean, well deserved. DJ Wanham. I think it's safe to say, Tyler, I think he might be the best pass rusher since a guy that wore number 7 in garnet and black. He might have that potential. I mean, I saw something on Twitter. You obviously don't want to overreact, but I saw something on Twitter that was comparing Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Wanham's sophomore stats, and they're like exactly the same.
Oh, Jesus.
they were like, DJ Wanham, is he like the next, thing? But not bad for a guy that South Carolina flipped from Indiana to come to South Carolina. Not a bad performance thus far to his career. So, we'll see. But I'll ask you, what was it like being in the stadium? I mean, what did it look like, on the field, South Carolina's defensive line? Because obviously, I mean, on TV, it was just dominating.
Yeah, it's so fast. DJ and a guy that I, continue to say every week is Dante Sawyer. Sawyer just looks so quick and so physical off the edge. That last drive, he almost got that fumble, and that last drive would have never happened.
I don't know how he didn't.
He's getting blocked, and he just reaches out his hand and swipes it out. He just tries to get the ball in every single play, and we haven't seen that, from his first couple years here.
Yeah, that's what we kind of talked about on one of our previous shows. I'm not sure if it was right before the season or during the earlier first games, but just the mantra that Will Muschamp has brought, and Tavares Robinson, get the ball. They want to get the ball every play. I mean, it's just a heads-up play, and, they want to get the ball every single play, get the ball out, get a 1 and out. So that play was crazy, though. I mean, I thought Dante fell right on it. I mean, it was a crazy officiated game to begin with. So we could just break down every little bit of officiating. But, yeah, either way, yeah, I agree with you. Dante looked awesome.
Yeah, another guy that – Rashad Fenton continues to be Mr. Dependable.
Fenton
Island, baby.
And he definitely had his fun. The Tennessee wide receiver talking trash all last week, and God, South Carolina's players were having a field day with it after the game, tweeting him, "Hey, did you even play today?"
I don't think he did.
Rashad Fenton in his post game, they asked him about it. He's like, I mean, you can talk during the week. When it comes to game day, it's about showing up and. I'm not even sure he played. So,
yeah.
Rashad Fenton by far got the last laugh.
I love the pass interference, too. He didn't care at all. He's like, he has a chance to go catch it, screw it. He's going to get 1 yard off of it.
Yep. So, yeah, Rashad Fenton just continues to – he's making a name for himself, man. What is he? He's a junior, too. He could be potentially gone after this year.
He's only a junior? I thought he was a senior.
Yeah, he's a junior. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he's draft eligible. He's only a junior. So, the one guy that we have to talk about that I got to bring it up, man, Jamias Williams just getting slammed to the ground on the stiff arm by John Kelly.
I didn't even see this. I didn't see a video.
Oh, you didn't see like the video?
I didn't see a video.
Oh, God.
Is it bad?
Oh yeah.
I
mean, it was Leonard Fournette-esque.
Oh no,
bad. It was just look it up. But Jam Williams getting his reps in SEC football for sure in his first year as a freshman. I mean, overall, from what I saw, obviously, I don't think there were a ton of targets at him, but he played I thought he played a pretty solid game. But that has been all over Sports Center and SEC Network and Twitter.
I just saw it. I gotta watch this again.
And I'll tell you this: the funniest thing though was I follow a couple of the guys. I'm friends with a couple of guys on Snapchat, and I don't know if it was Dante Sawyer or Bryson Allen Williams, but they were clowning him. They were in the training room and they were taking a snap video, and they were like, "Hey, ESPN." Dude, like, man,
bad.
It's pretty bad.
One more time.
It's like you have to be able to laugh at that. Like, it's how bad it is.
John Kelly's an absolute beast.
And it's not like it's just some no-name. He's a freak. So, but you know what?
That's awesome.
It's all good. You got to take your licks. It's whatever. You can win. You can laugh after you win. That's the good part. But yeah, South Carolina's defense. I mean, it's funny, man. They just continue to keep South Carolina in football games, and Will Muschamp, the job he's done with the limited pieces he's had on defense. I mean, we keep talking about it every week, but I mean, it just stands true that this defense isn't very, depth-wise is not very loaded, but they just continue to make plays. And again, Danny Fennell gets another sack. They have guys that, they're getting the most out of their talent, which is so encouraging to see. And I think definitely the second half, the establishment of the running game and probably, winning the time possession battle did wonders for that defense. Because like you said, they were fast in that second half. They were getting after Garantano all day long. But that second half, I mean, like I said, -7 yards of offense for Tennessee into the last drive. Just, absolutely outstanding. I mean, it's amazing, what Will Muschamp has done in just, a year and a half here.
Yeah, that was my biggest concern. After the first quarter, I think it's 6-0. I look at my buddy. I'm like, y'all just had the ball for 10 minutes the first quarter. This is gonna be a long day. And they kind of just flip the script, and then we get into the fourth quarter. Or maybe the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth. We have two what seemed like 8-minute drives. You get third down, get the first down, and you just keep going. They completely dominated the line of scrimmage. Both of those drives. I feel like those are the two best drives we've seen all season.
One was a 95-yard drive.
That was the touchdown drive, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So like that. That's how you win football games. You completely flip the script of momentum. Just seeing those drives. Third and 5, easy. Just flick over the middle and let's keep running it. And then the second drive, you had to run it on 3rd and 6 there. Even if you don't get it, you have to just run it and try to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Get off the field. So I was okay with that. I saw a lot of people on Twitter when I got, out of the game. I saw them complaining. It's like, that's just – you can't throw the ball there. It's just absolutely not.
Yeah, before you remind me, speaking of field goals, Parker White, man. Have a day. 3 for 3 on field goals. He makes a 47-yarder.
47.
I don't think anyone expected him. I don't think anyone expected him to make that.
Like you were saying before, he might have been in the show. You had your head in your hands. Everyone, all the Tennessee fans around me are just looking at me like, what is he complaining about? Because I'm just sitting there just yelling, like, why are we kicking this field goal? He's going to miss this by 20 yards. But he made that one, and I felt a lot better about the other two.
Yeah, I mean, the other ones were, I think, within 34 or 30 yards, but they literally show the stat. He lines up. They were like, this Parker White hasn't made a kick outside of 34 yards this season. He's 4 for 10. And you're just like, oh, my God. Why are we doing this? And he splits it right down the middle.
Dude, he's 500.
Right down the middle. Right down the middle. It's insane. I mean, he's obviously got a boot because that 47-yarder was, well through. But
We
just
said
glad
all
to see
year
him get off
he
the
has the
schneid,
boot,
man.
and we
Yeah.
obviously saw on the extra point it's not all his fault.
Yeah, good
So
God.
even on was proved right.
Even on the 47-yarder, I didn't think it was a great snap. Honestly, the second he snapped, I was like, he missed it. I just like he's going to miss this. Because I almost feel like we're to the point where, like, if it's not a perfect snap, I kind of expect him to miss it. And it was just like a little high or something. I was like,
I remember now. It was the hold.
No. The hold.
Goes up,
it was like
barely got the hold down.
I was like, oh God.
Yep.
Like, oh God. But yeah, nails it. And then God, the extra point. Oh my God. Let me ask you this, because I've talked to a lot of people, and actually it was you that said this. When you miss an extra point, it's like that's going to come back to bite us.
And it did.
So it could have. It almost did.
Yeah. It always comes back some way. Just like Florida, they lost to LSU because they missed an extra point.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but thankfully it didn't. South Carolina again, they get the W, 15-9, and I feel like that was if you're going to win in Knoxville, that it almost seems fitting in a sense. But let me ask you this, Tyler, because we've obviously been complaining about offense and the lack of creativity and play calling and this and that. But let me ask you this. Will Muschamp's been a head coach now. He was at Florida for 4 years. He's been a head coach here a year and a half. Do you think that South Carolina fans need to get used to winning games ugly?
Yeah, of course. Even when South Carolina was winning 11 games a year, most of them weren't that pretty. So, I mean, I'm only 22, so I'm used to ugly wins in my life. So, it's never going to be pretty. It's never going to be an Arkansas game where you score 3 touchdowns and you just smoke them. It's never going to be like that. It's always.
I just really want to score 50 once.
I just never expect.
Like on one hand, I'm like, I feel like Will Muschamp wants to as well, but I don't know. Like, he's a defensive coach. Like, I think on a weird level, I think he kind of likes games like that. Like where it's on the defense. He like wants it to be on the defense. Like, I could be completely wrong on that, but well, right now especially.
Yeah, but I feel like it's always been that way. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like you said, even when South Carolina's won 11 games, it was because they had. I mean, honestly, they were holding people to like 13 points, and it's like they were at least good enough to score more than 13. Yeah, that was ugly. That was 14-3,
and that was probably our best offense that's ever been here.
Yeah, that was ugly.
So I think absolutely you have to get used to winning ugly and get to like it.
Hey, winning is the key word in that, though. And yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll ask you though. We've been dogging Kurt Roper, and I mean, I think rightfully so. I think a lot of people have, but how do you evaluate, the play calling overall? Kind of what you saw from the scheme. Obviously, from what you saw and everything. I think we can, like I said, both kind of agree that, I think there was a game plan there to run the football, establish the run, move Tennessee off the ball and, eat up clock. How would you grade the overall game plan? And I'll give you another kicker, the adjustments made from the first half to the second half by Roper and the offensive staff.
Oh, it was night and day between first. Actually, I don't know if it's night and day. I think that the plays were just executed in the second half. And I can't hate on a game plan that results in a win. So, I mean, even if the game plan was bad, to our eyes, it still worked. I mean, they ran for 180-something yards, he said. So
194.
Yeah. It's only stupid if it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah, the only thing that frustrated me, man, is that I don't know why it took so long to – get into that rhythm, that groove. But
I think it's because of the lack of a throwing game.
Yeah,
we couldn't get anything going in the air, so it just took a while.
We've been so harsh on Roper, and I mean, we've been like he's on the staff. Like I don't want to dislike Kurt Roper. I really don't. You know what I mean? And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that, hey, 3-0 lineman out. I mean, that's why I was asking you earlier, do you think that what the O-line is doing is underrated with the pieces they have out? Because I kind of think it is. I mean, I think because I think any team in college football, if Georgia lost 3 O-linemen right now, they would probably be in some hurt. Like any team that loses 3 starting offensive linemen, they're going to drop off. And so, I mean, the fact that South Carolina ran for almost 200 yards when I have to imagine the second half, Tennessee sort of knew we were about to run, and we just ran it anyways.
Yep.
That was probably the most impressive part. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but God, it's just to me, the way I look at it is like if South Carolina can run the ball, they should without a doubt be able to pass the football. They have too many good weapons to not be able to pass the football. If they can establish the run, and that's what I hope. I hope that's what they want to do is because if you can establish the run like that early in the game, because I understand the second half running. Let's run the clock. Let's get out of here with a win. I don't care in the second half, but you can establish the run early in the game. When you get back Zach Bailey, Corey Helms, Malik Young, you got your starting five in there. To me, should flourish. I mean, Jake Bentley should, Hayden Hurst, everyone on that offense should benefit. I mean, am I wrong in thinking that?
No, absolutely not. But I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I think you're right. If you can run the ball, run it. Oh, what I was going to say is, don't you just wish that you could play Texas A&M again right now?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
because it's their first game they played together, and you've obviously seen progression from the week to week to week.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I mean, the silver lining in it for South Carolina is that they've created some hella depth. I mean, you get back all three of those guys, and now you've got guys behind them, and they can switch out guys, keep guys fresh. So, like, hey, these guys have been doing it. Like, look what they just did. So at least you've kind of developed some depth, at the position. So it'll be interesting to see. Like we said, South Carolina moves into a bye week, so no preview today or anything like that. We're going to hand out some game balls, though, for the game on Saturday. Tyler, I'll let you go first since I feel like I always go first on this one. I'll let you hand out your game balls first.
All right, so you took the easy one on offense, so I'll have to go Brian Edwards. Just because on third down, he's such a big target. And besides that drop, he was so, reliable. If you needed a few yards, it was just automatic. And you just saw that throughout the game, especially when he got hurt the first quarter. I don't know how serious it was or even what it was. Just seeing it from the stands, I was like, oh, no, it's Brian Edwards.
Yeah, I was thinking when he first went down, I was like, oh, my God, oh, no, oh, no. But I think it was like a cramp, honestly.
Oh.
Or it looked like he got the wind knocked out of him because he was like gasping for air. So I don't know. Either way.
He's so reliable, so he's going to get mine. Just 6 catches, 60 yards. That's half of your passing yards for the game right there. And then on defense, you didn't take the easy one, so we'll go DJ Wanham. He's an absolute freak of nature. And it just goes to show, if a guy's not 5 stars, he can still be developed into a great player in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. On offense, I took A.J. Turner. It was just great to see him. It was great to see him just get back involved. I mean, obviously a guy last year that, South Carolina really leaned on before Rico Dowdle, kind of stole the show. And I'm just really glad to see A.J. Turner. 14 carries, 86 yards. He averaged 6 yards a carry, had the touchdown, the speed sweep. Like I said, just great. He had the only touchdown of the game. So it was great to see him get involved. On defense, I'm going to go with Chris Lamont. His numbers were, pedestrian, if you will. I mean, three tackles, 1 tackle for loss, but had the pass breakup at the end of the game to save the game, and in my personal opinion, somewhat saved South Carolina's season. So, I feel like Lamont is a guy that since he moved to safety, hasn't been catching quite as much love this year, personally, because I think Rashad Fenton has been so good and his job's been fairly easy. But he's a guy that definitely deserves, all the praise back there and what he does at the safety position. So, Chris Lamont's good on you. We appreciate it. So, moving into the bye.
I got one more thing. So, the last play of the game, watching it from the stands, I thought it was a bad throw. Like, I thought it was well out of bounds and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll see on Twitter after the game, the ball is literally in the guy's hands.
He probably should have caught it.
It was a perfect throw.
Right.
So I think Garantano is actually going to be decent. They're not going to win any games, but I think he's their answer at quarterback at least.
And that's what, honestly, before we move into the bye week, I'll say this about Tennessee. I mean, they're not a good team. Don't get me wrong. They have talented players, though. They're going to lose by 150 to Alabama this weekend. But I'm telling you, Tennessee, they might beat a Kentucky. They might beat Vanderbilt.
I feel like they're better than both of those teams.
Right. They might give some teams some trouble because I think Garantano does give them a factor on offense that he can obviously run a little bit.
He made
He's
some
got
really
a
good throws.
arm. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I don't think Butch, and I honestly, I think Butch Jones, if he doesn't get fired after Alabama, I don't know when he'll get fired.
Right.
But if he does get fired after Alabama, like I think he will, I think it'll be a huge springboard for like Tennessee. I think will start to kind of rally. The players will rally, and I think I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see them actually finish pretty decently with him. I think he gives them, undoubtedly gives them an edge on offense that Quentin Dormady didn't. So it'll be interesting to see. But always fun to go up to Knoxville and get a W. I've still never been, so I'm a little envious of you. But it's just
you got to get there at some point, even if
I will. No, I absolutely will. But I'm sure it's fun to hear almost 100,000 silent.
It was great. It was great.
But South Carolina obviously moves in the bye week. This weekend, the 21st, the bye week for South Carolina after they sit at 5-2. Will take on Vanderbilt on October 28th. That's a 4:00 kickoff on SEC Network. Williams-Brice. We'll obviously talk about that one next week. But Tyler, sort of wrapping everything up, talking about the bye week. I think this is definitely a good chance for South Carolina's players to, and also us as well, decompress a little bit, kind of reflect on what you've done well. Obviously, look at what you can improve on. Will Muschamp sort of talked about it this week as far as we're going to work on South Carolina. That's what we're worried about, working on getting better. So I'll ask you what do you think are some of the biggest things if you were on the South Carolina coaching staff? What are some of the biggest things you think South Carolina needs to work on in the bye week?
I think Muschamp said it best. He said, "Just get healthy." It seems like everyone on that team has some kind of ding going. They're just not healthy. So I think they get like 4 days off this week, which I think is pretty awesome. You can watch a lot of film. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy practice-wise, but it also gives the individual coaches for positions a lot of time to reflect on what they've done right, what they've done wrong, or say like Shi Smith, who hasn't really gotten a lot of touches the last couple of weeks. You can find ways to incorporate guys in the offense. You can work on new plays, stuff like that. I don't think a bye week's ever come at a better time than this one has, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, last it's funny. It's with all the we've been barking about this season, and things maybe haven't gone exactly how we would have hoped and dreamed. South Carolina's 5-2 right now, and I mean they were, I think, 2-4 at the bye last year.
Absolutely, they were.
We're going through a quarterback change, inserting a true freshman that had never played. I mean, it's a lot of difference in last year than this year, but yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, getting healthy. I mean, that's the biggest thing I think we're excited about is to get those O linemen back, get some guys some rest that are banged up. I mean, I think everybody's a little banged up this time of year, but I think they said South Carolina, they were one of the last like 3 or 4 teams to have their bye weeks. I mean, their bye week's coming fairly late. But my biggest thing as far as just from a, ways to get better on the field, obviously you're going to watch film, but just trying to find a way to score when you're in the red zone. You know what I mean? Just making sure that because they've had their red zone struggles. You've got to be able to execute in the red zone and continue to improve in the running game and, develop the play action game and find ways to get Hayden Hurst involved down there as well. So, I'm hoping they'll be able to come out against Vanderbilt, obviously have a couple of wrinkles, mix some things in, but, definitely trust that Muschamp and the staff will take care of everything as far as getting those guys ready. And like you said, definitely deserve the rest. So, other news you want to get to, let's get to the listener questions first, because those are obviously all related to the football game. We've got some other tidbits to go over that aren't necessarily all football. So we'll go ahead and get into our listener questions. We'll start from Twitter at Garnet and Black 29. This is Kyle Lancaster. With Dante Sawyer leading the nation in forced fumbles, I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently. And the emergence of DJ Wanham. Talk about the future of our defensive line. Tyler, I'll let you start.
Well, Dante Sawyer is going to be gone, so I guess that gives someone else an opportunity. But you have guys like Javon Kinlaw and just up-and-coming players.
Aaron Johnson.
Yeah, just
Or Aaron Sterling, Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson. I think what has he played linebacker a few times this year?
Yeah, he might be a guy that slides down there a little
but
bit.
But he really is. He's a defensive end. If you watch his film from high school, he's a defensive end, and he gets around there just like Dante Sawyer does. It looks like, and it's like Clemson. Clemson's gotten so many defensive line commits. They want to play with these guys. They want to play with somebody like DJ Wanham. So it definitely helps on the field, but it also helps recruiting. It proves that the defensive line coaches and everybody else develop players. That's so important. Not everyone has to be a great 5-star guy. You can get developed.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And you were talking about, guys want to play with these guys. I'm talking to you, Dorian Gerald. I know you saw what happened Saturday. Come to South Carolina. Come play defensive end for us. We need you.
There you go.
But yeah, so because that was a big game for recruiting for South Carolina. They got J.C. Horns, another one that the Vols stole from South Carolina, and I think that the Gamecocks, especially with Butch Jones, most likely being ousted there. I think South Carolina is going to have an opportunity to steal some guys back.
When we were leaving the game, there's a golf cart that's carrying recruits. Obviously, I don't know who the recruits were.
Right.
They're clearly football players, and they were clearly disappointed at that outcome, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, tell them we don't feel bad. We had Kentucky happen at home, so we don't feel bad. Yep. But, yeah, so we'll move to the next question. Gregory House _2017 off Reddit. Why are we 5-2 right now? I asked this question because we are very low on most team stat rankings. Is that what good coaching looks like? Is our team improving game to game? I don't really understand it. Well, I don't think you're alone. I think it was kind of what we talked about earlier. I mean, I just think right now, let's not forget, South Carolina is still – it's just pre-Stover number. South Carolina is still extremely young. 70% are just, freshmen and sophomores. A lot of these guys, obviously, and especially in the offense, are to the point where, I don't really like to use the excuse that the guys are young because they just played so much, but they are. So, I just think, like we talked about earlier, it's just kind of with Will Muschamp, I think for the foreseeable future at least, until he really, really starts to get his recruiting classes in and gets his players on both sides of the ball, I think it's just going to be an ugly sort of style of football, kind of muck your way through it and, find a way to get a win at the end. I think right now, Tyler, I think that's kind of sort of what we're doing. So, I mean, the stats have not been flashy any week. I mean, South Carolina's offensive stats certainly haven't been flashy any week this season, but the defense is playing, worlds beyond what we all expected and, is keeping South Carolina in every game. So I just think it's going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to be honest at some point. We haven't played, the best schedule so far. NC State looks like a really good team, but other than that, it's changed every week. But it seems like a lot of the teams that South Carolina's played so far this year haven't been that good. Kentucky, I guess, maybe is decent. They're 5-1.
They find ugly ways to win too.
They have a very interesting game this weekend with Mississippi State.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm interested to watch that. But other than that, I hate the word opportunistic because it's so cliche, but that's what it's been. You just find a way to win, you move on. You don't really care how you do it. That's the way I like football games. Grind them out.
Yeah, and I mean that's he also asked. I mean, is this what good coaching looks like? I think definitely on the defense side of the ball. Yeah, I mean South Carolina's going to be the kind of team that their key to the game every weekend. They need to win the turnover battle. They need to win it. And the games that Will Muschamp has won at South Carolina, I mean, they found a way to do it. I mean, and I think they're probably like +8 right now in turnover margin, which is outstanding. I mean, it's got to be near the top in the country. So, I mean, it's right now. That's how South Carolina wins football games. But I will say this about, South Carolina's record and Will Muschamp and, the way the teams looked and everything. And I want to pull it up because Brad Crawford, who we all follow on Twitter, he does a thing after every single game. It sort of gets old. But he does a thing, talked about this is how many games Will Muschamp's record since he started at South Carolina. This is how many games he was an underdog in, and my computer wants to freeze up on me. But anyways, We'll see. So Will Muschamp's been an underdog in 14 of his first 20 games at South Carolina. He's 11-9 in those 20 games. So I mean, you think about this. Steve Spurrier was 12-8 in his first 20 games, and he was also an underdog in 11 of those games. So, and I saw another tweet as well, is that somebody said, what Will Muschamp is doing in South Carolina, it's ugly a lot of times, and honestly, it's these questions scratch your head, but he took over a 3-9 program, so whatever Will Muschamp is doing, it is working to some extent, because South Carolina 5-2 right now. I mean, the losses have been sort of head scratching, especially Kentucky, but I don't know any Gamecock fan, including myself, that would not have taken 5-2 at the bye. There's just no way. I mean, with the way the schedule looked in the preseason and what you thought of South Carolina, I mean, I agree with you that, a lot of the teams that South Carolina played aren't exactly world beaters, but I mean, NC State obviously had a ton of hype. Even Missouri, as bad as they are, South Carolina was an underdog, and it was on the road. And then with South Carolina's, what we thought the defense would be like, you thought, man, Drew Lock in that offense. So you win that one. Obviously, Kentucky was a huge, huge letdown. And then Louisiana Tech obviously was another struggle. But you go to Texas A&M, who I think is getting better every week, and I think is actually not that bad. You hang right there with them. What game am I missing? And then you beat Tennessee. What game? I'm missing a game. Anyways, so I mean, the way they've done it, I mean, I think any fan would have taken 5-2. So for what this team has done, we're definitely going to find out. I agree with you, though, Tyler. We're going to find out a lot about this team in the second half. You got Georgia, you got Florida, you got Clemson. I mean, what are you going to do? So I think it'll be really interesting. We'll move to the next question. The biggest and the baddest from Reddit. This is a really interesting question, Tyler. I really want to get your opinion on this. Would you rather win the next 4 games and lose to Clemson, or lose the next 4 games and beat Clemson?
Oh, well, if you win the next 4, you probably win the SEC East. So
that's a very good point.
I already chalked Clemson as a loss, so I'll definitely take a win over Georgia, because I think Georgia might be the second best team in the country. I really think that.
I agree. They almost had 700 yards of offense against Missouri. They set a school record against a conference opponent for yards in that game.
Yeah, Missouri might be the worst team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. It was, at least when I read it, I was like, man, I think a lot of South Carolina fans have to sit down and be like, man, how bad do we want Clemson this year?
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll say the thing that people always say, hey, if you win the next 4 games, you ought to be good enough to beat Clemson anyway. So I'll take that one. And then I have to read this because this is so ridiculous. Legion _of_ bring in the the pessimistic Gamecock perspective. We're entering the bye week 5-2. My question is, how will we mess this up and miss a bowl game? So, Tyler, I'll ask you, how can South Carolina mess this up and miss a bowl game at 5-2 with Vandy and Wofford left?
Well, even if you win 5 games, some teams get into a bowl, so we could. Man, a lot would have to happen for us not to make a bowl game.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't need another Citadel.
5-7, and
oh my God.
Oh.
I honestly think if South Carolina lost 5 in a row, I literally think Will Muschamp would be like on the hot seat.
Oh yeah,
it would be that bad. That would be that much of like a disaster.
But why would someone think about that?
That's what I was saying. This guy's probably been a fan since like 1950 and has just watched years and years of bad football.
Wofford is actually pretty good though.
I know, they're like 3rd in FCS.
Oh,
scary. I don't even want to think. God, who scheduled these games?
Yeah.
Like who schedules these?
That's like Coastal a few years ago. They were number 3 when we played them, but we beat them like
we beat the crap out of them.
Something to 7.
Yeah, we play them to start next year, and they're not very good anymore. So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Other news, Tyler, I know you saw PJ Dozier got released. Who was he with
the
again
Dallas
before?
Mavericks.
Was he with the Mavs before that?
Yeah, he was with the Dallas Mavericks. with the preseason. They cut him last week.
Okay, so then he re-signed with Dallas. No, excuse me. He signed, I wrote the Mavericks. That's what it is. He was released from the Mavericks, signed with the Thunder.
Correct.
Took number 35, which is the jersey number of Kevin Durant.
I love
who played there. So pretty interesting move. It's been a lot of up and down for PJ Dozier, just kind of bouncing around. So hopefully he finds a spot in Oklahoma City.
Well, it's a two-way contract, so I'm pretty sure that he has to spend like 2/3 of the season or something in the D League, but he can be with Oklahoma City for 45 days. That's my understanding of it.
Well, either way, it's just so funny. Every time something happens to PJ Dozier, it's the same. I don't know who he got his advice from. And we're like, well, we tried to tell you on the Spurs Up Show. You should have listened, PJ. We could have told you to come back.
Oh, man.
Yeah, another yeah. I wish Dozier nothing but the best. Man, I would love that this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, an interesting basketball note, South Carolina was picked at SEC Media Days to finish 13th in the SEC.
Really? Men's?
Yes, 13th in the SEC.
I did not see that. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be an interesting season. I'm pretty sure tomorrow is Media Day. 13th.
What? After going to the Final Four, they think they lost that? I mean, I know they lost a lot.
They lost that much. It's going to be interesting this year. Chris Silver.
Who'd you lose? Sin, PJ, Dwayne.
Justin Mackey, and you lose Rakim Felder.
And Felder, yeah. God, that is a lot. You got to rely on guys like Corey Holden and
I'm interested to see what they do.
Fresh faces.
There's going to be a lot of new guys. There's going to be a lot of transfer or grad student transfers. Chris Silva's going to have to be an absolute monster, and I think he will be. He's going to be an NBA player.
Yeah, I know you're. I mean, I am kind of too, but I know you're excited to talk some Carolina basketball on the podcast. We're finally going to have some basketball.
I love basketball, man.
Soon, in the next month or so, because obviously we started the Spurs Up Show. It was March Madness was basically ending in South Carolina. I think we talked about one basketball game, so it's coming, Tyler. Don't worry. We're going to have a lot of basketball banter going on all college basketball season. So
when you watch South Carolina basketball with Darren Horn's the coach and you lose 20 games every year, it's okay. You can watch it anytime. You still love it.
Yeah. Ooh, man, the Darren Horn years, some dark times. But
never happened.
Yeah, we'll sort of wrap things up here. I want to say though, kind of a little post show again. It was a very interesting week in the SEC, and also I'm not going to end this show without talking about what happened Friday night in Syracuse, New York. The Syracuse Orange, the Orange Men, whatever they are now, beat Clemson in. I honestly couldn't believe it. Me and my buddies were going nuts. Clemson goes down. Kelly Bryant, who knows the status of him with the concussion he took. They're also on a bye week, but man, Clemson Nation, I feel like, is falling apart right now. There's rumors that, or not even rumors, Clemson Tom on Twitter I saw was raising money to put a billboard at 5 Points, a 56-7 billboard, and safe to say, fans, Syracuse has got Clemson shook.
Did you see the South Carolina response to that?
Yes, they've raised $4,000 for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so, it's absolutely so. Yeah, if you haven't donated, if you want to donate, there is a GoFundMe right now in response to Clemson's billboard GoFundMe. There's a GoFundMe started by a Gamecock fan to raise money for the efforts in Puerto Rico and everything that happened there. It's retweeted on our Twitter account. Be sure to click on it. Obviously, if you want to donate, we'd obviously love for you to do that. So, very awesome response. I like that a lot. But
I've had Clemson Tom blocked on Twitter since 2012, so I didn't even the initial tweet.
Well, I got on Twitter this morning, and I just saw something about a billboard. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I went on, Cocky Talk, didn't see anything there, and I was kind of like, who would probably have something on this about their Twitter feed? It'd probably be Clemson Tom. It would probably be Clemson Tom. And of course, he's the one that started it. So, whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I have gotten into it with Clemson Tom on Twitter once or twice in my day. Let's just put it that way.
So I was on the way to Tennessee Friday night, and there was a ton of traffic on I-26, so we went through a different route, like through the mountains, like in the middle of nowhere. So I didn't have
Right.
signal for about an hour, 15 minutes. And in our group chat, we had 2 Clemson fans, and even if they're winning by 28, they'll still be complaining. So I put in the group chat when I finally get signal, and I saw that they were complaining. So I was like, so Clemson win by 28, and you're still complaining? And then they said they lost. And I was like, there's no way. And I got on ESPN and saw it, and I was the happiest I've ever been in my life for a good hour.
It was so funny. I went out in Charlotte Friday night, and you may have seen on my Snapchat, Tyler, but there was a fight at the bar I was at in the outdoor patio, and it was Clemson fans. And
They're turning against each other.
And I was like, coming to you live from the bar, Clemson fans are falling apart at the seams after the Syracuse Orange pull off the upset. I will say they were a 28-point underdog. Or maybe even 30. I mean, it wasn't even close. Honestly, that entire game, I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, Syracuse doing whatever. Even when Syracuse, I think, was up like 14-7, I was like, Clemson's going to win this like 45-14.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way that Cuse can hang in there with them. And I mean, Cuse lost to Middle Tennessee State, and they beat Clemson.
So I'm so glad it was on Friday night, because every single week I bet on Clemson to cover the spread, because they do every week. And if they would have played on Saturday, and I would have bet on the spread.
You might have to do it again.
Yep. So when Clemson plays next, I'll take the spread.
No, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was sitting there after Friday. I was like, South Carolina's only one game worse than Clemson right now. So
there you go.
Just saying.
And they thought they were.
But we'll talk more about it in November. Anyways, a lot of other cool games, crazy games too. Auburn blew a huge lead. 20-0 lost to LSU. You had Florida, the disaster there. Texas A&M goes in there and beats Florida. McElwain's got to be on the hot seat at this point. They
have no offense at all.
It's starting to wear off. Like we tried to tell you people, McElwain is winning with Will Muschamp's recruits on defense. Their offense has never been good. So I think they're finally starting. Those guys are in the NFL, and you're seeing what's happening. I mean, Florida's 3-3 right now.
Jesus.
I mean,
with
that game in Columbia is right. That game in Columbia is looking real friendly. I'm loving it. Trust me.
That'll be a fun game. We have some good home games coming up, though.
We do.
Year. I'm really excited about it.
Are you traveling to Athens?
I am not. I hate Georgia fans with passion, and I will not be putting myself in that position.
Good to know. Yeah, I haven't decided yet. So I was talking to Andrew and Hank as well, who used to be with us. So I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to be the only Gamecock in a sea of dogs. So I may have to
happen in Athens, Georgia. And to be honest, I'm not optimistic about that game anyways.
Yeah, that's honestly, man, we'll talk about it obviously down the road, but that's one of those games where I think South Carolina could lose that by 10 or 13 points. You can go, we're pretty good. Like, I mean, you really could. Georgia's that good this year. So
they are outrageously good.
But yeah, I think with
One more question.
One more question.
So I saw that South Carolina received a little love in the voting for the polls. So after a bye week, and if you beat Vanderbilt at home, you're 6-2. You find yourself into the rankings for Georgia.
You're asking me do you?
Yeah, do you think so?
I don't know, just because they only got like 6 votes or something.
I don't know. I just saw any votes.
It wasn't many, I know, but to me, I think it is. I mean, I know it's ugly, but how can you not be ranked at 6-2?
There's some really bad teams that are ranked.
Right. I mean, how can you not be a 6-2 SEC? How can you be a 6-2 SEC team and not be ranked is my question. So, I mean, that's the other side. That's the optimistic, obviously, Gamecock fan in me looking at that UGA game. I don't want to count chickens for they hatch, because, any South Carolina isn't good enough to roll their helmets out against anybody and win. But let's just assume you beat Vanderbilt. I mean, let's just assume you sneak in the polls 24 or 25. That game against Georgia becomes very, very interesting in Athens. I mean, a team, ugly or not, a team would be what? That would be their third straight win?
Yep.
I think
Against
Vanderbilt, they have a 3-game winning streak, right? So, I mean, we'll see. But do I think I don't know. I think if they have an impressive showing against Vandy, I think there's a chance. But they haven't gotten as much love, honestly, as I thought. I mean, because to me, if you're 6-2, you should be ranked automatically. But I was thinking about that as well. We'll see. I mean, that'd be awesome. That would be a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie to you. If game day for some reason went to Athens because South Carolina was ranked, I'd probably have to go to Athens.
Yeah, I'd change my mind.
I'd probably have to go to Athens and raise some hell. But, yeah, we'll see. It should be interesting. But, yeah, with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it up. Again, check us out on iTunes at the Spurs Up Show. Go there, rate, subscribe, tell us you like, tell us you don't like. We appreciate the feedback. Follow us on Twitter at ArmchairSCar, on our Instagram at ArmchairSCarolina, and check us out on ArmchairAmericans.com. Again, as always, I'm your host, Chris Phillips. He's Tyler Clark. With that being said, Tyler, do you have any last words before we take a little breather into the bye week?
Go Cox.
Go Cox. Everybody recollect, regroup, have a relaxing weekend. We'll see you next week as we preview the matchup with the Gamecocks and the Vanderbilt Commodores on homecoming weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.